I think I got the virus.
I've been exposed to numemon way too many times.
Yo, you sure you're good, man?
I'm fine. Where are you going? Wait, get back here! If you're seeing this, it's too late. The urge of playing numemon is just getting stronger and stronger by the second. And guess what? I made a deck. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is the black base. It is the most popular build that most players are actually currently running. And the whole idea is to have Sunamon and Tokumon as your Digi Eggs, which gives you draw power. You would include Agumon as one of your main rookies because it gives you the memory at the start of your turn. And there's a lot of room to work with, so you're able to include Chikurimon and Chumon as your floodgate to control the board. Of course, Ukumon is a must-have because it provides the early game aggression and the tempo that you need to become as aggro as possible for this deck. And for the level 4s, it's always standard to include 4 Jerimons or Garimons, which I don't know how to pronounce it, so you guys let me know. But of course, also 4 Nume X's. Garamon is always treated as a Numemon and it gives you the draw power. And Nume X keeps the infection coming non-stop because you can always play more Numemons back from trash. And the one target goal you always want to go for is Platinum Numemon. For the rest of the Numes, I mainly focus on the BT14 one, which lets you have access to Sasuke for free, which is always great. Reboot, jamming, and then sort of gaining memory turn after turn. And then for the rest of it, I went for the RBO1 Numemon, which has on deletions Search. When it comes to level 5s, it's all about your monzaemons. The one from RBO1 gives minus DP and minus security, and it helps you bridge into your Monzae X so that you can further remove larger bodies and then you can go wide and play stuff and then further DP reduce. Warrior Monzaemon, on the other hand, gives you access to a different kind of removal when form of Digivolving. It can also protect you from being attacked by any Digimon that has 5 play costs or less for the turn, which is really good and key. The most important thing is to make sure that you Digivolve Monzae X on top of Warrior Monzae and Monzae, just because they give you the inheritable of Security +1 and you want to chip away as much as you can with that damage. Platinum Numemon is the highest level form of virus, which is basically the stage 6, and you never really want to get into it as much, but you actually want to trash it, set it up so you can play it from time to time. In situations where you play it or Digivolve into it, you can gain memory back, and the infection just keeps coming because when it's deleted, you can then play a Monzae or Nume from your hand for free, and you could just keep cycling over and over again. As for other level 6s, it's really open-ended when it comes to tech choices. I personally went for Venusmon and Quantumon just to counter against various matchups and to be toolboxy, and the same applies for level 7s with Shrine Grave Rune mode and Merciful mode. Aside from Sasuke, the other tamer is definitely Louis because it always gives you that sneaky extra finishing game-winning attack and your opponents might not even see it coming, or it gives you a lot of momentum and tempo in the early stages when you establish early. X Antibody Pro form is always a great tech, and I hope that could be the cure to the virus. I need to go to locals. Okay, so for round 1, we face against Leviathan X, and it has a bit of counter against Numemon because it can pop wide boards, and we gotta be careful when we try to float things back and play things via effects because they can capitalize off of it. So the way to play around it is to be wary of what's in their trash, and you still want to rush them down as quickly as possible. Leviathan X takes some time to set up, and if you can see them not setting up quick enough, that's when you sort of go in and attack. So we're able to gain a ton of momentum during the early stages of the game by chipping down their security and playing stuff via effects while they don't have their setup just yet. We even got into Platinum Numemon, and they did end up deleting it, but that allowed us to play a Monzaemon from our hand and tuck in underneath a Numemon to gain memory during their turn, passing it back to ours. By being mindful and keeping up with speed, we were able to win the round 2-0. For round 2, we face against Gammamon, and this matchup can be a little bit tricky because the deck has a lot of removal. We gotta respect the Siriusmon and the Regulusmon Ace because they can come out when we attack and they pop things, so we have to think twice before actually going for their security. So in order to play around it, we want to make sure that we remove their Digimon, especially the level 4s or 5s with Monzaemon and Monzaemon X first. Game 1, the opponent was able to ramp up with Siriusmon and having ALittleSpoon underneath it, which lets them get into Proximamon, and by tucking multiple ALittleSpoons, they were able to trash our security and delete our stuff and take us down. So for Game 2, we started on the offense, going first and attacking as quickly as possible. By baiting out their ace first, we were then able to go into Quantumon to send them back into their security and gain ace overflow. Game 3 was clutch. We had 0 security, but were able to pull through thanks to Rune Mode, and that shuts off any of their Digimon coming out from raising, and also gets rid of their Digimon on their board. With Rune Mode, I was able to buy myself another turn, taking out their big stack alongside with it, and we managed to finish around 2-1. Round 3, faced against Blue Flare, and a little bit unusual deck, but it is quite popular here and there because it becomes a battle of rush. Numemon generally just has a disadvantage in this matchup because we tend to go wide with our board and it feeds into their stunning mechanic, and we just feed into all their shenanigans to unsuspend and attack us multiple times. But the game plan doesn't change because we still want to make sure to chip away the security and out-tempo them as much as we can and hope for our bodies to get deleted so we're leaving as little on the board as possible. Normally, Numemon is fantastic when it comes to removal alongside with DP reduction, but that doesn't affect Blue Flare as much just because they're able to save their sources. We were able to rush down our opponents by utilizing monzaemon and monzaex to do 2 checks, winning Game 1. But for Game 2 and 3, we just overextended with a wide board, letting them stun us into oblivion, and they were able to out-tempo us from there on. So we lost the entire round, 1 and 2.
The virus is spreading. Wait.
It's getting worse. I don't know how much time I got left. The Numemon is multiplying non-stop. Okay, so for the purple base, you mainly base it off the Demi-Mirror eggs, especially the one that has the undeletion. You trash a level 5 or higher to draw 2 cards, and that's a perfect synergy when it comes to helping you set up your Platinum Numemons in the trash. Ukumon remains the same at a 4 of. Instead of playing Agumon, you're playing the purple Gabumon, which serves the exact same purpose. There's also the inclusion for Gabu X. Even at a 1 of, it can help you search for your potential pieces because you can grab any X antibody card, and once again, trashing a card if you added a card to hand. The level 4, 5, and 6 lineup is pretty much the same, especially when it comes down to the Nume and Monzae, but I found room to include a copy of Chimeramon, which can come in clutch situations because you can DNA 2 level 4s together and make an extra swing for Game 2. I also included a Zulong Ace in this build, just because I love playing mind games. The main addition for level 7s is the inclusion of Omnimon Zord Defeats, which is one of my personal favorite cards, and I'm super happy to see this make a comeback. First, it can be used as trash fodder when it comes to pairing up with your Demi-Mirror eggs. It can Digivolve on top of Platinum Numemon when you get it out for free, which is really good against tamer heavy decks, especially when it comes to Red Hybrid, but also gives you an answer to Digimon Emperor, which is a very big counter against Numemon. Or finally, if you're feeling lucky, it can always pop out security, and there you have an extra body. There's still one more perk to it, because you can actually Digivolve Merciful Mode on top of Zord Defeat for 3 costs instead of the usual 6. Overall, this build still maintains its amazing consistency, if not even better. I gotta go to locals.
This is perfect.
So for round 1, we played against Royal Knights. This matchup can be fairly tricky because there's a lot of unpredictable cards that they play, and most of them are able to control the board, and if they're able to keep you in check and prevent any damage, as soon as it gets to the later stages of the game, it's game over for you anyways, and it's not winnable. As you guys can see, Royal Knights are serving their purpose in protecting the digital world from the virus, and one of them, being O-Force, is extremely effective because it bounces our Numemons back to a hand. Because of the bouncing and stripping sources, it prevents us from utilizing our on-deletion effects to flow bodies back out. But there are times that Royal Knights can give you quite a bit of memory, and with that amount of memory, we're able to get into Quantumon. But instead, we send our own Digimon back to our security in order to force them to add their final security to the top of their deck. And with that, we're able to swing for game. By keeping fast momentum and finding Ukumon with our mulligans, we were able to beat them 2-0. Round 2, Red Hybrid. And we actually played against James, which you guys probably seen him in Battle Vault before. But you will also see him in the next episode of Battle Vault. It really comes down to who sees Uko first at times, because the one who opens first gets to attack first. However, Red Hybrid does have some form of counter, especially they do play Crimson Blaze. So we need to be wary of that. And also, they're able to make multiple checks with their Digimon. This is why you want to establish monzaemon with blocker underneath. But by blocking one of their attacks, it ended up being a misplay, because that could have been an extra body for us to swing for game the next turn. And what burned even harder was that there was initially 2 Zwart defeats in security, and we should have let those checks go through. Game 2, we also had a Zulamon ace to counter against their attacks, especially if they try to go into Outamon for early damage. And guess what? Something incredibly big happened, which was so embarrassing. And the only one way to find out is by joining the Deluxe membership so that you can see the full gameplay with commentary. And because of that, we lost 0-2. Round 3, we faced against Beostar. The deck has a lot of removal options, especially you need to be wary of Happy Bullet Shower and Joel Schwarmer because they're fantastic at dealing against wide boards. Generally, you just can't stall for long because the longer the game goes, the more effective Beostar becomes because it can be played for reduced cost or even no cost. It came down to a chipping game because they want to do the same to us so that they can draw in trash cards and also mill cards, but their Impmon mills were not so lucky. And this is one of the reasons why I really like Quantumon, because we're able to look at their security, take out any options that are threatening to us, and it gives us vital information to set up for a game-winning plan. And with that, we saw Fly Bullet early on, which is why I went into Ruin mode because it's a level 7, which plays around it. This brought us to victory for the round with 2-0. We're running out of time. The numemon virus is taking over pretty quick. But I gotta finish this video for you guys, you know? So, black base or purple base? The black base can digivolve up the stack, which is an alternative game plan when you're trying to play around decks with a lot of removal. There's more rookies and floodgates, whereas the purple focuses more on top-end tech cards, making it a completely separate package to the rest of the deck, but provides more early draw power to find all the different top-end cards you need to adapt. For those who are watching, there's one secret. There's one major weakness that can help cleanse and beat all numemons. And you need the ultimate vaccine, which is